Just want to do an assembly video for the Arrowhead here, make sure people know how to put it together. This is already a complete unit here, but yeah, just want to give you a few tips for putting it together. There's two ways you could do it. You can use a tool, which I don't really need it. It's a spanner wrench. One end is for your castle nut on the buttstock, and the other is for the lock ring on the handguard, or spanner nut on the handguard. So I'm not going to use that, but I'm going to throw one together here. Have all the parts to do so. This is a quad rail. You can see here this is a Vector key mod 7-inch carbine length handguard. This is a 10-inch quad, and the Arrowhead, you have to have this 40. It only takes handguards. They use this 47mm barrel nut. Basically, the only part you need is the spanner nut. This thing you can just get rid of. Most important part, the Arrowhead with the handguard adapter. See, it's the same thread as that barrel nut. 47mm by 1mm pitch. There's an Archangel buttstock, which I really like. They have a nice little, it's like a release feature for putting on and off the buffer tube, and you can lock it down so it doesn't come off. Kind of nice. On the buffer tube itself, you have your castle nut, which usually you would put this way on an AR-15. But since we're not using a tool to tighten it, I like to put it this way so that the teeth or the edges of the castle nut don't catch you on the hand when you're playing around with your gun. Got a pistol grip, Allen wrenches, 1/8 inch, 5/32, 3/16, and 5mm. And your stainless steel hardware that comes with the Arrowhead. You got the adapter screws, the takedown screw, and the pistol grip screw. Because of state law, I can't fully assemble this as a rifle, so I'll show you with a Ruger 1022 here how to drop it in and put the handguard on. Of course, put your safety selector in the middle, drop it in. Oh, there goes my pin. Drop it in just like you would on a regular stock. Backside first, drop it in. Push it back a little bit so it's nice and snug back here. Put your takedown screw in. Use your 1/8 inch Allen wrench to tighten that up. Good hand tight. Take your adapter, slide it over. I highly recommend getting a ball end driver, 5/32. If you have a Ruger 1022 with or without this stock, it just makes a lot of assembly and disassembly easier. Using those little L keys kind of silly. Let's get them in there, don't crank them down yet. Now start to tighten them up. Torque them down even. That should be good. This I should have put on first, so now I got to thread on all the way. Yep, getting there. That's why you should have put it on first from the other way. Okay, just about to the end. Actually, to the end. I'm going to put the quad rail on. Careful not to bugger up the barrel. This takes a while. It's well worth the time. Be patient. Alright, now this is where not using the tool, you know, if you use a tool, put your nut in, crank it down, pretty good, but I don't like to do that. I like to snug up the lock ring, spanner nut, get it so it's just starting to come in snug. See right there, nice and tight. I can keep going if I want. I'm going to back it off, turn the spanner nut a little bit more, and crank it down. And you want to look very carefully down the length. Make sure you're aligned. If you want real proper alignment, you can, you know, it takes a few tries to get it perfect, and it's worth it. So once you get it where you want it, flip it over, put your lock, whatever this guy is, little set screw, and use your 5 millimeter, thread that sucker in there, and tighten it up. So there it is. That's your upper part. Because of state law, I can't put this together with this on here. You know, if I cut this off here and put it on, that's fine. But I live in a stupid state, so I can't put this on right now. So I'm going to disassemble it. Is the gun empty? Yes, it is. Put your safety selector in the middle. Ease her out. Okay. So typically, if you live in most states in America, the way you would start your assembly is by putting the pistol grip on first. This gives you a little leverage for when you're tightening things down. This is a DPMS grip. I think just about every grip will fit. In the process of designing this, I discovered not all grips are created equal. So this one you'll get a little gap here, but who cares? Next you're going to want to put your buttstock on, about the same as on an AR. Remember I put the castle nut on backwards here, so these teeth are going to be captive against here and not going to bite you in the knuckle. So that's a little more than ½ inch. Let me put the buttstock on the buffer tube. You can put a buffer spring and whatever little weight guy is in there if you need like a recoil system, but I don't really find it necessary. So this I'm going to lock this guy in. There we go. So now this won't come off the end. The other nice thing about the Archangel is it's got these nice quick disconnect holes. So like the handguard, I'm going to tighten the nut down with this at about 11 o'clock and tighten it down. It wasn't where I wanted it. So I'm going to bring it more like 9:30. Tighten it up. Almost. There we go. So now that's on there. You can go crazy and crank these down if you want, but I haven't had it hasn't come apart on me yet. So that's pretty much the back part. At this point, if you didn't live in a state like mine, you would put this in here. Now you'll want to take this ring and put it on first, just so it goes over the end. This you'll slide over your imaginary barrel, put your screws in. Evenly torque them. Now take your handguard, carefully get it started. You do not want to cross thread this. This is the longest part of the assembly. Okay, so I can back it off now that it went all the way tight. Bring it back around 10 o'clock. Snug up the spanner nut. And see, that was a little too far. Let's bring it over. That's too much. And it's nice and tight right about there. That's pretty good. So I'd make sure that this is aligned with the rail on my receiver. You know, maybe you have a receiver like this that has a Picatinny rail. You know, you'd see that's not aligned, so I'm going to crank it a little bit more. There we go. No. There we go. So now that's in there. Then I put in my nut here, or dog screw, whatever the hell it is, set screw. Tighten that down. And again, it doesn't have to be super tight. And there we go. That's a quad rail. Looks pretty good. Now this is a monster. There's tons of these available. I went with this because they're so available and they're pretty cheap. You know, I sell quite a few of them. There's a Vector. This is a quad. If you're running a stock receiver and you're not going to use a rail at all, you can go one of these tube types. These are pretty cool. They look good. There it is. Arrowhead build.